Dear students, today I am here with the first poem of class 11th, A Photograph, written by Shirley Tarleton. This poem has been taken from the Hornbill book. Beginning with the explanation of the poem, the first stanza goes like this. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. In this stanza, the poet talks about an old photograph which was pasted on cardboard, and it makes the poet recall the old memories of her mother's childhood. The photograph is a depiction of her mother's enjoyable moments at a sea beach with her two cousins who were younger to her. They were walking in shallow water with bare feet near the beach. The mother was standing in the middle and holding hands of the two girl cousins who were standing on each side. The poet's mother was 12 years old then. Stanza 2 says, all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. In this stanza, the photograph shows that all three girls, the poet's mother and her two cousins, stood still and smiled at the camera when their uncle clicked their photograph at the beach. The mother was looking very pretty at that time, and the photograph was taken a long time ago. The mention of the word transient indicates the ever changing lives of human beings. The girl's life changed drastically during this period, but the sea has not changed. The stanza beautifully explains the transient nature of human beings. Stanza 3 goes like this. Some 20-30 years later, she'd laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she'd say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter, both wry, with the labored ease of loss. Even 20-30 years later, the mother would look at the photograph and laugh nostalgically, remembering the happy memories of her past. Mother would look at the photograph and comment on the dresses worn by cousins Dolly, Betty, and herself. Sea holiday was her mother's past, and her mother's laughter has become a thing of the past for the poet, as her mother was now dead. The poet still remembers how her mother would laugh at the photograph, remembering the sea holiday with a fondness as well as a sense of loss. The last stanza says, now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. In this stanza, the poet recalls that it is nearly 12 years since her mother died. The poet is consumed with grief but is left with no words to express her loss and pain. The poet is totally absorbed in memories of her dead mother. The painful silence of the situation leaves the poet speechless. With this, I come to the end of the explanation of the poem. Moving on to the literary devices used by the poet. The first literary device that the poet has used is alliteration, and alliteration, as you know, is the repetition of the initial letter sound. So the example of alliterations in the poem are stood still to smile, terribly transient, its silent silences. Moving on to the next literary device, that is oxymoron. In this literary device, there are two opposite ideas that are joined to create an effect. So the example of oxymoron is labored ease. Labored means with great difficulty, and ease means comfortably. Both words have opposite meanings, but here they both are clubbed together. Hence, it is the example of oxymoron. Talking about transferred epithet, so it is a description that refers to a character or event but is used to describe something different. For example, transient feet. It refers to human feet, but it is used to describe the lack of permanence of human life. So this is the example of transferred epithet. Last literary device that the poet has used is personification. Personification is when you give a human quality to a non-living thing. So here the example is, its silent silences. The situation has been given the human quality of silence. That was all for today. Hope you were able to understand the poem properly. In case of any doubts or queries, you can drop a message on the Instagram, the link for which is given below in the description. You can also drop your queries in the comment section. I'll revert to them at the earliest. See you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.